sometimes the most mindful thing we can do is let go. But letting go isn't just about releasing pain, it's about reclaiming who we are beneath it. Welcome back, listeners, to the Mindful Journey podcast. I'm your host, Sana, and this is the space where we explore the quiet revolutions of healing, growth, and conscious living. Today, we are joined by a beautiful soul who embodies radical release and radiant resilience. Listeners, meet my guest, Samantha Jones Darling. And she isn't just an author, she is a world traveler, a healer, and a woman who's alchemized profound trauma into a life of purpose. Her latest book, I Am Ready, Let That Ish Go, invites us all into the sacred art of surrender. From addiction to PTSD, breast implant illness to generational wounding, Samantha has lived through it, healed through it, and now she guides others to do the same. She's known for being called the most interesting person I've ever met. And today you'll see why. Trust me, listeners. So, if you have ever wondered what it really means to let go, not as a concept, but as a path, this conversation is for you. So, Samantha, welcome to this show, and I'm really honored to have you here with us.
Thank you, and I'm honored to be here. I love that introduction. That sounds you made me sound so important. Thank you.
Good. Every soul in this universe is important,
Yeah.
and every voice matters. That's what is the foundation. And with that, I would like to begin right at the soul of your book, Samantha. Um, you know, when I was reading through the intro and I read the name of your book, um, internally, I kind of felt a strength within me when I read, I am ready. It is so powerful. When we look at the mirror, we see ourselves and we say, okay, okay, I am ready. I am ready. It definitely gives that strength. It kind of ignites us from within. So, to you, Samantha, what does that mean? That declaration mean? And what did it require from you to say it fully?
Well, I'm actually gonna tell you a little story of where it came from, and then
Mm.
and you'll understand. I have been working as a healer for 3 years. I've always been a healer, but working professionally as one for 3 years. And, when I have done the techniques that are in this book with clients, there's a moment when we're standing together in and we're standing there and they have pulled up everything that they're ready to let go of, and we're standing
Mhm.
there in front of the fire, and we're in front of the well, we're getting ready to light the fire actually, and I look at them and I say, "Are you ready to let all this go?" And they say, "Yes, I'm ready." And I say, "Are you ready?" And I make them claim the ready, and then use their voice, because when we use our voice, that is the medicine of air, right? And God has given us the medicine of air and these voices to use them and to speak what we want and to speak what we need and to be powerful in our voices, right? That's what we're doing here on this podcast, using our voice to share the medicine with others. And so I invoke that medicine in the clients and I say, "Are you ready?" And they say, "I am ready." And I say, "Are you ready?" And they say, "I'm ready." I say, "Louder." And then they say, "I am ready." And then I flick the flame on the lighter and light it all on fire. And then we watch it burn. And it doesn't just burn out of the 3D reality that we're in. It burns away from their soul because we pull it up in this ceremony and this ritual together where we have
Mm.
helped them release what's heavy on their heart, release what's holding them back from the next step, and to release all of the chaos that is within them.
Wow. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And so many of us, we say we are ready, but we are still holding on. And I have been there as well, Samantha. I mean, convincing myself that I've moved on. However, I've just avoided the grief. I've kind of, like
Mhm,
avoid the problems.
mhm,
avoided the grief. So that is something really, really profound. And Samantha, about your journey, you have healed so many layers. Trauma, addiction, illness, generational trauma. So, um, what was the most surprising thing that you had to let go? Something you didn't even know you were carrying.
Yeah. The most surprising thing that I had to let go. That is a hard question. Um,
Like, is it generational trauma or like the addiction? Sometimes we kind of have self doubt. Sometimes we pin blames on, okay, because of this it happened, because of that it happened. I've carried this.
yeah, I'm just listening. I'm just trying to think of it. Did anything actually surprise me? And I don't believe that anything did surprise me. It was, I talk about this at length in my book, but I come from a family of darkness. I grew up in chaos. I grew up in a home that did not value honesty, that did not value truth, that did not value each other. And so when I got to the point where I was ready to let all that ish go, I knew that it was I knew it was gonna take total restoration of my heart and soul in my life. When I talk to this sometimes to, clients and when I talk to this sometimes we're talking about, like, the restoration of the body that you're in, the restoration of the soul that you're in, and I will compare it to, when we fix up our houses, right? Because when you're born, you have your soul and you have your body, right? And you're born into this world, and as you're growing up, your mother teaches you things, right? And so in the metaphor, your kitchen has been painted yellow, right? And then your bedroom has been painted blue by your father. And you're a child, you can't do anything. You have this yellow bedroom and this blue kitchen, and you've got graffiti on the walls from the bullies at school. And maybe you've had an illness and there's some mold in your floors, right? And so my point is that some of us, like myself, we needed to do a full restoration where we stripped everything down to the studs and pulled up the carpet and started over from scratch. That's what I had to do. And then there's some people who they just need to run to Home Depot and get a gallon of paint and, do this, right? But regardless of where you are in the spectrum, everybody needs a trip to the Home Depot restoration of the soul, right? We all have to do it, but some of us it is a more intense overhaul of an entire generation of darkness and chaos and destruction that needs to be eradicated. So to answer your question, nothing surprised me. I knew it was dark, and like yourself, I avoided it for many, many years through addiction, through overworking, through, beautifying myself to be a distraction just to myself. In many different ways, I distracted myself from looking inward. But one of the things that I realized, and that's in this book, is that I was overlooking the power that the darkness has. Grief is your best friend, and grief sits
Yeah.
next to you, holding your hand, waiting for you to turn to her and say, "What did you want to tell me?" And the longer that we fight and ignore her sitting there, and the longer that we hate her sitting there, and the longer that we pretend she's not there, and the longer we avoid her, the longer she stays. But the moment we surrender and we look at her and we say, "Okay, I'm gonna sit with you now," and you just sit there and you feel the grief, and you just sit there and you just feel the pain and you cry and you scream and you lay there looking at the ceiling thinking, "Oh my gosh, I'm never, ever, ever gonna feel good again." But you do. You always do. There's always a point where the grief breaks and fills you with love and fills you with hope and reminds you that there's another chapter.
Wow. Samantha, I love. Uh, I don't know if our listeners would agree with this or not, but what I feel is, I absolutely appreciate your self awareness and that confidence. And you are right. I mean, I agree with you. gradually through the years, in fact, dealing with generational trauma, it has put up its own weight, its own um, kind of inflicted figuratively pain on me. Sometimes, I have actually pinned my blame on, okay, m the result of my action is just because of that decision I took, and that is because of the generational curse or the generational trauma that I'm carrying. But then I also agree with you that, we have to embrace grief. It is a powerful emotion. It's a powerful, it can be a powerful friend, and in a positive way. Once we embrace it, it's a complete overhaul. So that is a different, refreshing, beautiful perspective.
And let me bring up another point that goes along with that is every time we avoid or just avoid a feeling that we have, we are actually being avoidant to ourselves. We are
Mm.
dismissing our own self and then wondering why nobody's listening. We are dismissing our own selves and wondering why we are out of alignment. We are dismissing our own valid emotions, ignoring them and stuffing them down and distracting ourselves away from them, and then wondering why we can't love because we are not giving the love to ourselves. And that is no matter where you come from in the world, no matter what family you come from, that is what is asked of us.
Absolutely. And Samantha, I mean, now we have talked about embracing our grief. Then comes um the act of letting it go.
Mhm.
Uh, so there is a misconception that letting go is passive, but through your book, what I believe it is like reclaiming. So what kind of, have you observed any myth or um, kind of a misconception around letting go that you wish more people would stop believing?
Mhm. Well, I I think that most people believe that letting go means that you are going to live in loss. And what letting go is creating space for what is actually in alignment for you, what your heart actually wants. So we must let
Mm.
go of what is not working. We must let go of the pain. We must let go of the darkness. We must let go so we can then have space in our hearts and space in our bodies and space in our lives, right? Because let's say that you're somebody who loves to overthink, who has a habit of overthinking, who can't stop overthinking. This is one of the things that we can let go of, right? And so when we
Mm.
let go of overthinking, we are now given peace. Letting go does not always mean loss. Letting go is not an act of lack. Letting go is an act of inviting in abundance.
Absolutely. It's beautiful. And I think many of us, we kind of mistake surrender for weakness. Just like if, somebody is forgiving very quickly, then it's kind of an idea that that person is weak. It's he or she is not a strong-headed person because they're just letting everything go. They're forgiving the ones who have done wrong to them. So they're weak. So we can do anything to them. So it's a huge misconception around it.
Mhm.
Talking about your book, I think it must have been a healing journey for you, revisiting your past, revisiting, going through the present. Um, so, how has writing and sharing your truth, especially in this book, how has it helped you deepen your own healing? I mean, was it difficult in the beginning because you had to revisit your memories, or was it like therapeutic from the beginning itself?
It was all of that. It was the most powerful journey that I have ever been on when when talking about writing a book. And all of my
Mm.
books, all of my books were written with the intention to show my own healing as well as invite other people into theirs. Okay?
Mm.
So every single book I've written, that's why my print is called Darling Press books that heal. That's what they're for. They're here to open your mind, open your heart, inspire you to letting go of something and moving forward in some way. This particular journey of I am ready, it actually took me by surprise how powerful and how hard it was because I had been doing this work full time to the point where it's almost effortless for me when somebody comes in what we're gonna do, it's different every single time, but my
Mm,
body knows what to do, right? And so it was easy. But then I'm like, "Okay, now I'm gonna sit down and write this and talk people who I've never met through the process, what that looks like, and then hearing all of the
mm,
questions coming up and trying to address all of them at one time, while also trying to make it simple." And then once I got the structure down, then diving into the stories, right? And there are some very powerful stories in here from some clients and very powerful stories from my own life. And
mhm,
the beauty of writing like this is that every time I write my story, I heal myself. Every time I share my story with someone else to help them, it helps me. And many times the person sitting across from me, when they're telling me their story, I am then reminded of something in my own life. And as I'm giving them the inspiration and the guidance and the insight that I needed when I was sitting where they are, it heals me, right? And so I've been doing all of this healing on my own, but I know that in that journey, I have also healed myself in the past, healed my past generations, healed my family without even speaking to them about it. And that's what's so beautiful about it because healing is not linear. And whatever you heal today, you heal for the past self and for the future generations.
that is so right. That is so right. And yeah, as you share about writing and then sharing stories, I think through these conversations on uh, podcasts and connecting with people, it is a kind of healing on of its own. Because we get to share our stories, we get to know other people's journeys, their trials and tribulations, their transformation. Yeah,
Well,
reckonings.
storytelling is the oldest spiritual medicine that there is on the planet. Since the beginning of time, in every tribe, in every continent, in every corner of the world, storytelling has been used to teach, to inspire, and to bring people closer to themselves, which brings them closer to God. Storytelling through our voices is what we are actually here to do as a human culture. And you can see it when you look around. Everybody's telling their story. Everybody's on social media. Everybody's writing books. And that's what we're here to do is to express ourselves authentically, tell the story of who we are, tell the story of where we're going, and help others heal through that and heal ourselves at the same time.
Absolutely, absolutely. Beautiful. Samantha's in the interest of time, if our listeners they would like to connect with you and also get a hold of your new book as well as your other books as well, retreats and everything, what would be the best way?
You can find everything about me at samanthajonesdarling.com. You can find all of my books in my bookstore. You can, if you're in America, well, if you have Amazon in your country, you can order my books through Amazon. You can also download them through ebooks through my website. And if you want to follow along on my daily journey, I've got some great fun things happening on Instagram with my personal account, Samantha Jones Darling, my book account, I Write Books That Heal, and for fun, I also have Samantha Darling Cooks, where I get into fun things in the kitchen. And just yesterday, I made the best sauce of my life. So, healing is also about having fun and doing amazing things and creating. And so, I have all kinds of fun things online at samanthajonesdarling.com that people can find me.
Wow, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. Yeah, it's giving like the vibe of aesthetic, creative cooking because it has its own healing vibes as well.
Exactly, exactly. You need to come on there and check out this sauce I made yesterday. I don't care if y'all do not do anything else, but come check out the sauce because it was so good. I'm joking. Buy my book and check out the sauce.
Absolutely. I'll make sure I mention all the links and details
Thank
and the
you.
show notes for listeners. And Samantha, this was such a beautiful, soulful conversation. Um, I think it's like a homecoming, and letting go is not about losing something. It is about making space for peace, possibility, in fact, for the person who we are becoming. So, thank you so much for the work you are doing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. It was a lovely conversation.
Same here. And to all the mindful journey listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in. Whether you are, wherever you are, your breath is your anchor, your truth is your compass, and healing is your birthright. Until next time, stay present, stay open, and keep walking your mindful path. Thank you.